What's up, guys? Welcome to the Granger Smith Podcast, episode 36. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for listening. I'm grateful for this platform. I'm grateful for the First Amendment so that I could exercise my freedom of speech, get on here, speak to you guys, tell you what's on my mind, tell you about what's going on in my life, tell you about the state of the world, at least the way I see it, and to invite some of my friends on here to chat. So if you're new to this podcast, thank you. Thank you for watching if you're on YouTube. And I would encourage you to go backwards. This whole thing started in the back of my bus on tour. And I wanted to give people an idea of who I am and where I came from, especially when it comes to music business. How we ended up here. How did Yee Yee come around? How did I start even playing guitar? Who are my influences? That was the inspiration behind this podcast originally. Then it is now shifted to every Monday. We're going to put these out early every Monday, so hopefully you're commuting to work and it gives you something to do, to listen to watch while you're commuting to work. And it gives me a platform sometimes to answer questions, sometimes just to get in front of a camera and keep you guys updated. So regardless, thank you for all that. The world, as far as my world in touring, is still very slow. We're looking to get back soon. I know we have a couple dates in June. Those are in Texas. There are some dates in July, and I would expect, and I've been saying this, that this will continue to double and double and double every month until late fall. We're back. I mean, our December is full. So hoping that stays the same, like it's always been. It's going to be really fun, and as I believe, and I kind of preach this to people, I feel like we're living in a pent-up economy right now. There's a lot of people that just want to go out and want to grab a beer and listen to a band. I know I do, and so I feel like so many people, especially the majority that have not lost their jobs, unlike me, are saving money that they would have spent at the movie theater or going out to the bar or even going to the beach or things like that. So I am excited that when this tour does, the floodgates open, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be fun. We'll be able to pack out some rooms again and feel that passion. I'm also going to put an album out in the fall. I don't know exactly when, but I am looking at a whiteboard right here that I've written all of the songs that I know are going to go on there and the process that those songs are in as far as what they need instrumentation-wise, what they need vocally. Some lyrics need to be tweaked, but I'm looking at that board right here. So that's going to be fun because when the floodgates open and we do start touring like crazy, I'm going to have a bunch of new songs to play. So today is a fun podcast with one of my best friends and my tour manager. He is notorious on the internet. So many people know him for his big personality and big biceps. I want to introduce you, if you don't know him already, and hear the backstory of how we got together, how we became friends, and then how we eventually became friends that worked together very closely. This is an interview with Chris Lee.
Dead cans and diesel, mud tires and smoke. Long line of 4x4s bumping down an old back road. Granger coal once high, it's a redneck invasion. Yeah, you're rocking with that Yee Nation.
So the year was 2000. I just moved to Nashville. I moved to Nashville July 1st 2000. I didn't know anybody there. I didn't have any friends at all. I had a couple connections through people that knew somebody that moved to Nashville, and then I knew that you were there. I had heard that Chris Lee, the drummer from the Garland Opry, moved to Nashville a few years before me.
It was big news.
I mean, at the time, I just, there was a small group of Texans that lived there around my age. So I went into a bar called Silverados, a dance hall, country honky tonk. And I was there just having a few beers. And I had known, I don't even know if you know this, but in my desperation to have a friend,
God,
I went through the Yellow Pages, which used to be a thing.
Yeah.
Not a thing anymore. Went through the White Pages. I already forgot. So the White Pages book, the Nashville Metropolitan White Pages, and I went through and found the Lees. And there was like 4 Chris Lees. Mm-hmm. This is a sign of the times. I would call, starting with the first one, just call the number. Hello? Chris? Yep. Chris Lee from Garland, Texas? And they'd say, huh? I'd say, sorry, wrong number. So I did that 4 times, and none of them were you. So fast forward a few months, I'm in this honky tonk, and this guy comes up to me. I barely recognized him. Cowboy hat. No. You weren't cowboy hat. You were very slick dressed at the time, I believe.
Okay. That was a phase I was in, I guess.
Yeah. And this guy, super tan in a colder month. And you said, you Granger Smith? And I'm like, at the time, no one said that to me. I was like, yeah. And he goes, Chris Lee, Garland Opry. And I was like, my God, Chris, I found you, man. It was a really big deal to me that I found a guy from Texas, and the guy I had been looking, and we weren't I wouldn't consider us good friends.
Yeah, we knew each other.
We were acquaintances, and no one at the time had everybody's social media account or phone numbers. That just didn't exist.
Yeah.
Cell phones are actually pretty new. Like if you had a cell phone number, you didn't have a long contact list. So needless to say, we hit it off that day at Silverados, had a few beers, exchanged phone numbers, and then although we had known each other probably 5 years before that, our real friendship began then. Mm-hmm. Starting with a co-write, I believe, was the first thing we did.
Yeah, so Allison, who I'm still married to, we were boyfriend and girlfriend at the time, we invited you over to her apartment.
Okay.
I remember I hadn't heard you play or sing since our Garland Opry days, which was, probably 3 years before.
Yeah.
But, we had you come over and, I don't even think we were going to write. We were just going to play and just hang out and drink a few beers and everything. And I, played for you a little bit. And you're like, oh, that's great. And then you started playing. And I'm like, oh, my God. I don't remember this guy being this good back in our Opry days. But something happened in those couple of years. I think maybe you had gotten out and started playing in your own band and everything. But
I think that might be a little bit of exaggeration, or you just don't remember.
It was a major leap. I mean, you were good, little singer in your Garland Opry days, but there was a drastic change. And at that point, I was like, well, this freaking guy's he's gonna be huge. He's gonna make it. So, I'm still waiting for you to make it. By the way,
yeah, right. Somewhere around that time, I was also needing a roommate. I had an extra room.
Yeah.
And so I asked you, hey, you want to be my roommate?
Yeah.
And you were like, well, man, I'm just kind of crashing at my girlfriend's apartment, and I was kind of actually looking.
Didn't have a whole lot going on.
And I remember the one time we met to write, and I don't know if you remember this or not, but I said, whatever parking lot, EMI Publishing or something, I said, meet me there. I'm driving a big white truck. And you said, cool, I'm driving a big red truck. And you pulled in with the legit big Ford pickup diesel.
Yeah.
And I was driving just a normal 1500 Z71 Chevy. But the funny thing was, what occurred to me was that at the time, I was driving a big truck because no one was driving a truck in Nashville, really.
Yeah.
And another Texan comes in and actually had a legit big truck.
Yeah.
And we hit it off soon after. I mean, you moved in. It wasn't long after the Silverado's run in.
Yeah. Yeah, we became good buddies and fellow honky tonkers.
Yeah, we would. So starting then, we would go out together, hit the honky tonks, hit downtown Nashville. Which, if y'all haven't been to downtown Nashville, it's always a good time. And did a lot of things that were pretty reckless, careless at the time.
Yeah.
Our kids will eventually listen to this, so we can't get into too much of that. But we spent our early 20s living it to the fullest.
Mm-hmm.
We'll put it that way. We wrote songs together. We both sang together at times, and then sometimes I would sing and you'd play drums, and then sometimes I would play steel guitar and you would sing or play drums.
Yeah.
With Trent. And our relationship grew, basically building the backstory of us, because I don't think that anybody really knows you other than tour manager.
Yeah.
So
there's not much else to know.
Well,
really.
no, you're actually a really good artist, really good songwriter. You've always been a great singer, great guitar player.
Thank you.
Not just a guitar player, but just you're the kind of guy that could pick up any instrument because you have a really good ear. You could pick up piano, guitar, drums.
It's important to know that I'm not great at any of those things. Right? I get a little bit good.
Depends on who you're comparing yourself to.
That's true.
Compared to the rest of the world, you're a pro at all those things. I guess we also stayed really good friends because our schedules were really different. We stayed out of each other's way.
Yeah.
You had a day job that was very demanding, and you were gone a lot. And then we would come together on the weekends and do our shenanigans. Mm-hmm. So about 2004, I moved back from Nashville back to Texas to start a band. Asked you to come with me. Mm-hmm. You said no. Good reasons. You had roots in Nashville. You had a serious girlfriend at the time, who's now your wife, and you had a good job. So it would have been silly to leave with me. Part of my going back was going to finish college, live on my Uncle Johnny's couch. I had nothing going on. Mm-hmm. I was going to start an open mic night, so there's nothing to go back for. So things developed. Your career started really taking off. You became regional manager at a company called Cytex. Is that right? Regional manager?
District manager.
District manager.
Yeah. That was a hard. The way that you lay this out there, you made it sound like you didn't have a whole lot going on in College Station, and that is true. You were trying to develop some roots and everything, but it still was a difficult decision for me not to make that move, because I really, just as I do today, I firmly believed in what you were doing, and what you were as an artist. And I didn't know what role I was going to have in that someday, but I knew I had to be a part of it. So that was a difficult decision for me not to make that move to College Station. And this is coming from a diehard Texas Longhorn fan, too. Yeah. Moving to College Station.
And that being said, College Station has kind of always been known as a Texas music hub, along with Austin and Lubbock, and there's probably a handful of others. So if you're playing Texas country music, you're going to want to live in one of the San Marcos, New Braunfels, College Station, Austin, Lubbock, Dallas-Fort Worth. Mm-hmm. And so I guess that's why you would.
And Houston's probably somewhere on that list.
Yeah. So years go by. You get married. I go to your wedding.
Best man.
You have a baby. I'm starting to tour a little bit more. We're barely touring at all outside of the state of Texas, but we are going to Nashville and doing some bar gigs. Mm-hmm. And every time we would go to Nashville, I would crash at your house, and we would catch up, but still never really thought during that time that there was a huge future with us past that. It didn't seem like it because your roots were getting deeper. My connection with Texas was getting stronger. So it was I don't know when it was. It was actually before Meadow, your first child, that I asked you again. In fact, I invited you down, and you came to College Station Week because I remember drinking beer at the Dixie Chicken.
Yep.
And I said, I want to invite you down to join me. And I don't think I said tour manager. I think it was like just be in the band or be part of, because you're also a really good lead guitar player. So you could have done anything at that point.
Yeah. I don't remember what the title was. I think it was just to be down there and just be part of it, which I would have been grateful to.
My sales pitch to you was move everybody. Actually, it's just Allison. Move Allison. But Allison had a good job, and your job was my sales pitch was, I know you got a good job, I know you're making consistent money, but you're not doing music, man. You love music. You want to be in music.
Yeah.
And you said no again. Both of the times you said no were really good decisions on your part. It was too early. But it's funny looking back, because then that was probably, I don't know what year it was, but it was 2013 when Earl Dibbles was out, and which you helped write the Country Boy song, so you're kind of at the ground floor of Earl Dibbles. You saw what that did for us as a band, and then 2 years after Earl Dibbles, I asked you again, this time with a mission to be my tour manager. Because I'm sitting here thinking, I don't want to hire a glorified merch guy. No offense to merch guys. I don't want to hire. Tyler was done. Tyler was done with trying to be tour manager. He was already had his eyes set on management. And I just wanted a friend, someone that knew me. And so I remember that phone conversation. I said, my goal is to bring in somebody that could shoot me straight all the time, that supports us as a band, wants to push us, but at the same time knows when to say, dude, shut the hell up. You're wrong. You're wrong on this situation. Boy, did you take that and run with it.
Some things never change.
But I remember you said, let me think about it with Al. And you had 2 babies at home.
We had, God, you lose count over the years when you have as many as I do. We had 3.
Did you?
Yeah, we had Cannon.
You had Cannon. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, it was 2013.
Gotcha.
March 2013. Yeah.
So I remember you said, let me think it over. You called me and we talked. I was in Nacogdoches.
You laugh, because you had extended this offer a couple times, and I think it had kind of become a joke to you a little bit.
Right.
Because I remember you kind of laughed it off when you threw it out there.
Yeah.
And I remember hanging up after that conversation, and I was like, why is he laughing this off? I am going to move down there, and I am going to take this job one of these days. I don't know if this is the day, but I am going to do it. So I felt a little bit upset, and I remember calling you back saying, hey, I'm taking this serious, just to let you know.
Yeah.
So that started the conversation with Allison, and I cannot praise her enough for that move, because she loved Nashville. She loved being there. She had roots. She had friends and everything. But when I hung up for that phone conversation, she saw something in my eyes. She saw a spark that she hadn't seen in years, and it was the music business.
Yeah.
Came back calling. I had settled into my normal life. I used to wear a khakis and button-up shirt.
Yep.
And I had
tell them what you did.
And I had a great thing going. I was a district manager for Cytex, which was basically a glorified laundry company.
Right.
They're great in what they did and everything. But that's what I did. I ran that branch. It was like I was kind of like a Michael Scott in the laundry world.
You started that company as a temp employee.
Yep.
Delivering the linens, running the route, which is grueling in my mind.
Yeah.
You'd get up at what time?
I'd get up like at 2.
2 o'clock.
Oftentimes, you and I would play downtown Nashville at Tootsie's, and I would go straight from playing downtown.
Yeah.
And I would sleep in my big old truck out in the parking lot for an hour, and then I'd go to work and do the same thing the next night. But so progressed through that company, and I got as far as I knew I was going to get, and it didn't matter what I accomplished in that company. It didn't matter what kind of awards or, how high up I was going to make it. There was always something missing. And I just had that, just like you, maybe not to the extent you have, but I had that musical gene.
It is to the extent. Otherwise you wouldn't be sitting here.
Yeah, but I just couldn't shake it. I knew I was never going to find true happiness in my work life unless I was doing something in music. And so that call was, I had prayed, literally prayed, and I pray all the time, but I remember that prayer very, very distinctively a couple weeks before. And I asked God, I said, God, if you want me to just stay here and keep doing this and be a district manager and stay with this company, I'll do it. I'll be the best damn one. When I didn't say damn to God. But I'll be the best one you want me to be.
Yeah.
But if you want me to go do something else and you want me to really venture out and do this music stuff, give me some kind of a sign. And that sign came a couple weeks later in your phone call. And I love telling that story because it's the truth for one thing, and it's a great example of how you put your life and you put something into God's hands. Yeah. He's going to direct you.
Yeah. That is awesome. You came in and you said yes. It shocked me. Mm-hmm. I was very happy, and you came in and you came into a situation that was kind of volatile. We were playing. We were in an old bus, old blue bus called Atlantic Express, and the band was kind of unorderly. And one of the tasks I said was, "You're going to have to get this band in line. We can't get them to do anything.
Right.
All they do is drink, and we need them to that's fine, but we need them to play the show first." And then we also need them to load their stuff back in the trailer when they're done, because they had a tendency of finishing the show and then getting drunk and disappearing, and then it would be...
I've never heard of a band like that.
Yeah. it would just be a couple people left over to get all of their stuff and put it back in the trailer. So I remember when you first came in, it was like, all right, one of your jobs, man, is A, doing that, and B, you got to deal with these club owners.
Yep.
I don't know how to describe them besides saying it's an interesting bunch. Club owners, nightclub owners is an interesting breed. There's and as in most things in life, most of them are good, really good guys.
Yeah.
But you get a few of them, 1 out of 10 maybe, that it's a scary situation.
Yeah.
You're trying to get cash from a guy, especially with a band like us. When we were just starting to pop, we would play a 800 capacity room. And they would think that no one was going to come in. They would predict 200 people would come in. Mm-hmm. And we would put 750.
Yep.
And it would shock them. And they're paying cash at the door. So say people are paying $5 at the door. Then at the end of the night, they would estimate to us, when I was still involved in that, they would estimate how many people were there. About 350.
Yeah.
I'm going to open up this safe and give you a wad of cash. It's just beer-soaked cash, just a handful of it. And just put it on the desk and say, we'll rebook you later. And so part of your job at the beginning was to go, nope, I need this counted. I need to know why you think it's 350, because I think it was 750. And that was your job, and it has changed a lot. But the original tour manager for us, that was your job.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. I remember getting the band in order being a huge deal early on. And these are great guys. Most of them are all still with us. But that was just kind of what band guys did after the show. This was back before we had production guys all in hands and loaders and everything, loading up all the gear. So band was having to load all their stuff in, play, load all their stuff out into the trailer. So they had a pretty lengthy day. It was a tough day. But we'd get a couple guys that would wander off. And the trick for me wasn't if I could just get my hands and get in front of these guys, it was no big deal. They're, a lot of times they just need to be reminded.
Yeah.
Hey, you need to go load your stuff up. But the trick for me was right after a show, you and I would go to the merch table.
Yes, that's right.
And so I would be pulled away from that. So...
Because I would sign autographs and take pictures with everyone there every night.
Yep. So we would sit there for that. We'd do that merch table for 2 hours sometimes, just you taking pictures and doing autographs for everybody. And eventually I'd have one of our production guys come up and say, Chris, can you go get so-and-so from the bar? He's not loading up any of his stuff. And then it became kind of a tug of war. I'd leave the bar. So I look at our lives now, and it's like, eventually when we start playing again, it's so much easier.
Yeah.
I don't have to go find band guys at the end of the night. And
Yeah, we got bigger problems.
Yeah,
it's like
for
what
sure.
Tyler always says, bro, you got to get bigger problems.
Yeah.
It's interesting because those guys would, you have to understand that them doing that, it's a lot easier, I should say, to play a show, load your stuff, put it in the trailer when there's not that many people there and no one really cares. Mm-hmm. Or if you're tired and you're ready to get home. But the thing was, this was new to everyone, an exciting crowd that loved us, that was packing in the doors of these small clubs. Was very fun for the band, too. Mm-hmm. So you got a lot of pretty girls,
a
lot of cool guys that are wanting to buy you a shot, wanting to tell you how great your guitar playing or your drumming is or your bass playing, whatever. And so it's a huge distraction because you got 700 new friends every night. Mm-hmm. Man, come here, but you play guitar so good. I'm picking on Todd. Let me buy you a shot. And then that turns into 2 shots. And then some pretty girls come up and they want to tell you how good you are. And some of the guys would want to exchange numbers. And it was just, it was overwhelming to the ego. So it's hard to blame them for what they were doing. They weren't just lawless. Mm-hmm. They weren't just revolting against us.
Yeah.
But at the end of the night, we had to look after the crew guys. And so you fast forward 7 years in your job. What did you say? How many years? Because it was yesterday you texted me.
Yeah, 7 years yesterday.
7 years yesterday. Yeah. So your job has changed so much in 7 years from those days being that's your responsibility to now.
Yeah.
Many times managing an arena tour.
Right.
Which is much more an arena tour for you. Say it's a Kane Brown tour or a Luke Bryan tour. It's much more hands-off of the band. Mm-hmm. And much more hands-on with the venue and the promoter.
For sure.
And our meet and greets and radio facilitating and it's been it's a whirlwind.
It's definitely perceived as bigger things, but at the end of the day, it's from 2013 to 2020. Your goal is to get whatever vehicles you're traveling in, get them parked, get everything loaded in, sound check, do a show, do a meet and greet, and then do a show, collect money at the end of the night. I mean, those basic principles never change. It just becomes a more vast venue, a greater amount of people to deal with, but the principles are the same.
Yeah. It might be important to say, too, because somebody might listen and go, man, he met everybody at the end of the night and took pictures and autographs. Why doesn't he still do that? Well, there's a lot of reasons. One of them being just the longevity of our touring life, the lifestyle of touring. It was crushing, not just me. It was the venues had to deal with the lines of the people. Mm-hmm. You had to be pulled away from your job as actually getting paid and getting the band and gear.
Right.
And it became a security issue every night, which was overstaffing venues that were always understaffed. And so, and maybe even bigger than all those was we needed to go to sleep.
Yeah, for sure.
We needed to stop and unwind.
Also, the toll that puts on your voice.
Yeah.
I mean, I would be hoarse at the end of the night just from also because a lot of these nightclubs, the DJ keeps on playing. Yeah. And the DJ even gets louder after the live music has stopped. Yeah. So here you are at the merch table, and every single person that comes along, and you're not one of those that just doesn't talk to people. You talk to every person that comes through, and so you're shouting and you're screaming over the DJ. And by the end of the night, it's like you've done 3 shows. Yeah. Because you've done your 90 minutes and you've done 2 hours worth of screaming at people at the merch table. So
then we transitioned into meet and greets before the show, which was unheard of at the time for us.
For that level.
That level. So we did meet and greets before, and then we realized we should probably charge money for those meet and greets. Otherwise, we're dealing with 500 who wouldn't want to go buy a ticket and go see the artist first, and then I would if it was George Strait. So then we put a money on it, and then we put a limit on that.
Right.
But it's been a fun evolution, and I don't want to spend this whole conversation talking about that. I kind of want to get into your new life as a comedian. I want to take a quick break. Quick break from the interview with Chris. I hope you're liking this podcast so far. My name is Granger Smith. This is the Granger Smith Podcast, episode 36. I want to tell you just a couple things before we get back to Chris. Ways to find me, grangersmith.com. If you go right to that homepage, boom, you're going to find out when these tours are going to start back up and when you can get tickets. I'm hopefully going to announce this on social media as they start trickling in, because we will be completely back to normal. It's not a matter of if, it is when. Reject the idea of the new normal, the new way of life. All that is false. Reject that, because collectively as people, we're going to come together and realize that we could defeat any kind of enemy. I want you to go to Granger Smith because you could find that I'm doing virtual meet and greets. We typically do these on Wednesday nights, and they do sell out quickly, but usually around Thursday or Friday we announce the next week, and we put them on the website right there on the homepage, so you can get a meet and greet with me, and it's basically holding the phone, and I'm basically Skyping, FaceTiming you, and we get to have a 5 or 6, 7 minute conversation. Those have been really cool. You could also find me on Cameo. It's an app or a website, cameo.com. You can find me on there, and you could book me to give you a video, and I'll literally send you a video saying what you want me to say, whether it's happy birthday, happy anniversary, happy graduation, get well soon, you name it. I do these daily. It's so fun. Cameo, it also allows you to direct message me, so we could literally direct message text back and forth. And these are ways for me to make up on income, so that, and I'm okay here with Yee Apparel, but this is to try to build our touring company back up to take care of the guys. We still have to pay health insurance, bus insurance, liability insurance, bus payments. So there's a certain amount of business expenses that we still have to maintain to stay alive. So I'm doing everything I can. And it also just allows me to keep in touch with you guys, and feel your heartbeat of what you're needing, what you're liking, what you're wanting, and that's important. Last thing we're doing is these live streams, and some of you might have seen them, but we're going to try to put out these live streams twice a week, and we're going to do these on YouTube and Facebook. You could watch it. We're going to do some throwback songs. Comment below if you have a song request, and we'll put it on the next live show we do. But we're getting the guys together. We're calling it Live at the Yee Farm. It has been a blast. You can see the old ones on my YouTube page, and they're all free. And just like this podcast, it's all free. We do offer a virtual tip jar at Venmo/Granger Smith. PayPal is info@grangersmith.com. And the Cash App is $ Earl Dibbles Jr. So I do want to set that up, and I do want to talk about it, because in this whole crazy mess, I'm trying to just maintain a livelihood that we could go right into touring and boom, no problem. So I'm definitely not asking for much. $0 is totally acceptable. $1 is perfect. That's all we're saying. Love you guys. Back to Chris Lee. When did Chris Gaines start?
Chris Gaines has always been here.
Yeah.
No, the whole Gaines mantra thing, it started with weightlifting. And about 7 years ago, right before I moved down here, I got into fitness. I started looking in the mirror, and I had a couple kids at the time. Started looking in the mirror, and I'm like, God, I'm not going to make it to 60 years old. I'm not going to see these kids graduate and everything. So I knew I had to make some changes. So long story short, I got really serious about my health. When I moved down here and I started to go lift with you and Tyler, it became an extra motivation, an extra challenge for me to not just be fit, but to see if I can outlift you guys, which I'm still trying to do. So that's when that whole thing came along. And I've always loved the Garth Brooks character, Chris Gaines.
Yeah.
I always have. I thought the album was cool. I thought the idea was brilliant and everything. So I liked pairing that, kind of using that little spin-off with my name and Chris Gaines, only it's spelled Gainz. So that's kind of where that started. And all my social media and everything was based around, hey, look, I'm lifting weights, because it's an old weightlifting adage, right? If you don't take an Instagram photo of you lifting weights, then did it really happen? So that was kind of what started that mess.
So a few episodes ago, I had Dusty on here, and I was telling Dusty that he's like a sneaky funny.
Yeah.
And that came up because when Earl came out, and the radio would always say, "You're so funny. You're so funny. Earl is so funny. Were you always so funny? Were you always the class clown? And I would always answer, man, I'm not even the third or fourth funniest guy on my bus. And I throw Dusty into that category above me, because Dusty is a quiet comedian. He doesn't burst open the door and here's the joke, there's Dusty, we all laugh.
Right.
We're all having a conversation, and he's in the background, and he says something that just gets us really laughing. But you are the bust in the door with the joke guy, and that's not recent. You've just always been that guy.
For sure.
Since the Garland Opry playing drums, you were the guy that had the funny quip that had people rolling. Yeah. And that's why I recruited you for a Country Boy song at the very beginning. I need this guy. And I think what were some of your lines in that song? It was like the meth head.
Yeah, the
line.
meth head was the most notable.
Yeah.
I keep a 12 gauge by my waterbed because the next trailer over lives a meth head. Yeah. And I remember thinking that and like writing it down at the time, thinking there's no way he's going to go for this lyric. Yeah. It's too far out there, but it's funny to me.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it did okay.
Through our days in Nashville, many, many years ago, you were writing funny songs.
Yeah.
You were taking either a popular song and making a funny parody, but not like a silly parody, like a ridiculous version.
Right.
And then you were writing original funny songs. And it's funny because I remember you thinking, your grandpa, your biggest advocate, your biggest fan, who is also the man that raised you.
Right.
Taught you to be a man, taught you everything you know from birth.
Yeah. And
you felt a little bit of regret because he was a musician and loved country music. You felt a little bit of regret to write funny songs when you could be using that talent to write serious songs to change people's lives.
Right.
It's funny. What I learned with Earl is that you can change people's lives being funny also.
Yeah, absolutely.
A smile is a cure to many, many ailments.
Yeah.
So you were always funny, but then you started a YouTube channel. Meanwhile, you're keeping us laughing constantly on the road and the bus. But you started a YouTube channel about really fitness and weightlifting. And the funny pieces of that started to evolve into a comedy channel. Yeah. And then you told me a few years ago that I never knew about you, that you actually had a dream of yourself being a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, for sure.
And so tell me what that is now and how your YouTube page looks now and the direction that you want to take that.
Yeah, I like the weightlifting aspect of the channel and everything, but I found myself only enjoying doing the funny parts of it.
Yeah.
And I kept asking myself, am I contributing in a positive manner really with this weightlifting? Because there are a gazillion weightlifting channels out there. And I noticed that I didn't have the passion for the weightlifting part of it. I really had the passion for making people laugh.
Yeah.
And I've always had that. I mean, going from getting in trouble in Sunday school, for cracking jokes and making people laugh and everything, that's always just been a part of me. And so I thought, I can contribute to this world, and it doesn't have to be in a serious manner, because who doesn't need a smile this day and age, right?
Right.
And if I could put a little something out there, bring a smile to somebody's face, make them chuckle a little bit, I've made a contribution.
That's
I've done
everything,
something.
man. That's everything. So what's your YouTube channel?
YouTube channel is Chris Gaines, Gainz, comedy.
Yeah. How often are you putting out videos, and when did the songs? Because I'm all about the songs.
You should do nothing but songs. Like, it takes time, Granger.
I love when you do the songs. So what's your plan with this channel? And it's definitely taken on a new life with this whole shutdown.
Yeah, for sure. The plan is, so I do a weekly video. Every Tuesday I put a new video out. My goal is to put a new song out every month. I just put the Frozen parody out last week. So my goal with that is just to do a song every month, to do a new video every week. And I'm going to keep making these funny videos as long as people keep watching them.
Yeah.
I legitimately enjoy doing this stuff. I mean, it fuels my creative juices. I have a good time with it. And like I said, if I can bring a smile to somebody's face, make somebody laugh, then I feel like I've done something.
It's awesome. It's really good, too. So if you guys haven't seen it, go check out his YouTube page and then comment on his latest video, Granger Smith Podcast, so that we know it worked.
Yeah.
We know the engagement worked. Man, I'm just even thinking about the 25 years that we've known each other and the evolution in our friendship. I'm excited to see what the next 25 will bring. And we've gone from work partners to friends, back to work partners / friends also.
Yeah.
We don't have a whole lot of work now as far as tour management side. You do a few things schedule-wise now.
I've seen a couple, and I'm not going to mention specifics, but I've seen a couple of shows come through on email this week, and I'm just ecstatic.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite part of this week is getting those emails and being able to enter them into our schedule.
And I love that you love touring. You have a massive passion for touring, for being on the road, for basically managing the entire touring operation. And if you ever wonder what a personal manager does versus a tour manager, it's exactly in the title. Personal manager, which is Tyler, manages my music life, and Chris is in charge of the tour. And it's really refreshing to see someone that loves their job like you do and is so passionate about it, and that is diligent in staying and just growing that. Because speaking of job offers, I've even talked to you before about, hey, do you want we could open something up in Yee Yee Apparel? As Yee Yee Apparel continues to grow, eventually we're going to need a warehouse manager of that sort. And that would provide you an opportunity to get off the road, maybe make the same money, but still be involved in the team, but not travel. And you're like, nope, I like tour managing.
I love the show, man.
Yeah,
I do. I love going to new towns. I love meeting fans. I love to see your growth as an artist. I'm going to see this thing through. As long as you keep doing this, I'm going to be right there.
Yeah.
Unless you get rid of me, which would be silly.
No, I've tried to a couple times.
Eventually, everyone does at some point.
We have fought like brothers, and but more often we have fought on the same side versus bad patrons and bad club owners. We have carried people out, or I've at least watched you carried people out. Hasn't happened lately.
No, thank God.
But Hayes, Kansas, 2014. Many stories. If you guys want to hear some more of these stories, comment below. We'll get Chris back on. Maybe we'll do an episode of just road stories, just tour stories, the good and the bad. So anyway, I hope you come back, man. Do this again.
Thanks for having me.
And we'll do it next time, maybe on the bus when we're deep into touring again.
Yeah, I like the sound of that.
See you guys.